Hey good people, and welcome to my channel. As promised, today kicks off a new series on my channel for Wednesday videos. And in this series, you'll get to see my vision for how I think Season 8 of Game of Thrones should have ended. Today we'll start with my rewrite for Episode 1 of Season 8, and each week I'll be posting a different episode rewrite. But before we get things started, if you want to subscribe to my channel, then feel free to hit that subscribe button. The support will make me feel very warm inside. So let's jump into Episode 1. In my rewrite, Season 1 of Episode 8 begins in Volantis. Melisandre is shown getting off of her ship and walking towards the temple for the Lord of the Light. Inside the temple, Melisandre meets with Kinvara, who we last saw in Season 6, as well as 10 fellow priests and priestesses of the Lord of the Light. A surprise guest that is present at this meeting is Quaithe from Season 2. We learn that she is also a follower of the Lord of the Light, who wears the mask to cover up severe burns that she received on her face many years ago. She also has a vested interest in helping Dany any way she can. At this meeting, Melisandre informs everyone that ice and fire have been united, and it is time for them all to do their part in bringing light to a world facing eternal darkness. Melisandre, the 10 priestesses, as well as the Fiery Hand, board a fleet of ships that are bound for Westeros. Cue the opening credits. Now in Winterfell, Jon, Dany, and Dany's army are shown arriving at Winterfell to meet the Northerners, much like in the season opener. We as the audience get to see the culture shock between the Northerners and the foreigners from Essos. Arya, much like in the season opener, is outside the gates of Winterfell, and she gets to see many of the people that she hasn't seen for several years. Once inside Winterfell, Jon introduces Dany to Sansa, Lord Royce, and the other lords of the North. The reception of Dany and her army is met with little hesitancy. Tyrion, Varys, Melisandre, and Sir Davos are also at this meeting. During the meeting, Jon sees Sam standing next to Ghost. Jon immediately greets Ghost with a proper greeting, and he has a proper reunion with Sam. Tyrion exchanges a smile with Sansa before suggesting that they form a war council and have a meeting regarding the upcoming battle. Everyone agrees. In the next scene, we see Jon, Dany, Sansa, Grey Worm, Ser Jorah, the Hound, Brienne, Tyrion, Sir Davos, Varys, Sam, and the Northern Lords in the Great Hall of Winterfell. They're here to discuss the upcoming battle strategy. Grey Worm is the first to suggest that they should let the army of the dead come to them as they hold their ground. Jon shares that the North is a vast land, and they have no idea when or how the army plans to strike Winterfell. Sam suggests that he has some information on how to forge Valyrian steel weapons from the book that he stole from the Citadel, and he will be willing to share it with the weapons makers. Bran arrives at the meeting later, much to the surprise of Jon. Jon makes a comment about wishing that he could have protected Bran earlier. Bran shares that Jon did protect him at Craster's Keep against the mutineers. Bran also tells Jon that he knows about Jon dying at Castle Black, and he knows that Jon will have an important part to play in the war to come. This news takes everyone by surprise, and Jon comes out admitting that he was killed and brought back to life by Melisandre. Sir Davos backs up Jon on this story about his resurrection, and Dany also shares that she saw Jon's stab wounds to the chest. Jon seems somewhat shocked by Bran's new powers, but Jon is even more shocked when Bran suggests that he has the power to keep a watchful eye out for the Army of the Dead's movements if they ever get past the wall. Later in the meeting, Dany and Sansa get into a verbal sparring match about feeding Dany's armies and the plans for the North after the war. Dany comes off as extremely arrogant in a nice and nasty way, and Sansa matches Dany in her war of words before Jon intervenes. This behavior from Dany catches the attention of Varys, who gives Tyrion a strange look. When the war council is dismissed, the Hound and Sansa stay behind and they have a conversation about how much Sansa has changed. Outside of the Great Hall, Grey Worm informs Dany that the dragons are not eating. Dany and Jon look into the matter, and this is when Jon and Dany ride the dragons together. During this time, Varys, Tyrion, and Sir Davos plot the future of Westeros after the war with the Army of the Dead, much like in the season opener. Dany and Jon fly over Winterfell. The difference between this version and the original version is that many of the people of Winterfell can see Jon riding the dragon, and they can be heard talking about how he died and he was brought back to life. Tyrion makes a sly remark saying, "I only thought Targaryens could ride dragons." To which Varys replies, "So did I." Gendry is seen setting up his station for making weapons. Sam and Gendry meet, and Sam asks Gendry if he knows how to make Valyrian steel. Gendry says that he does not, and Sam, with his stolen book from the Citadel, explains to Gendry how to make the Valyrian steel. And because there are dragons at Winterfell, Gendry has everything he needs to make new weapons. In King's Landing, Euron arrives with the Golden Company to the delight of the citizens of King's Landing. Cersei meets with Harry Strickland and asks where are the elephants that the Golden Company is known for having. Strickland replies that the elephants will be arriving in a few weeks due to the logistical reasons. Cersei shares that her plan is to have the Golden Company remain in King's Landing until Qyburn gets word on whether the northern forces were victorious against the dead. Euron, having delivered on his promise, asks Cersei if she would give him the honor of sleeping with him, and Cersei and Euron sleep together. Qyburn is shown walking into a room where Septa Unella is being tied up. We as the audience learn that for the past month, the Mountain has been abusing Unella on a daily basis on the orders of Cersei. Qyburn arranges that Unella be taken down to the dungeon where a dead and decomposing assures Ellaria and Unella, as well as an emaciated Ellaria, has finally given them both permission to die. This is a time where Qyburn soaks both of them in wildfire, he lights a match, and he walks away. At Eastwatch by the Sea, Tormund and Beric are shown having survived the attack on the wall by the army of the dead. They rally all of the Eastwatch survivors, and they also send ravens to the remaining Night's Watch members, as well as Winterfell. The letters that the ravens are carrying detail what happened at Eastwatch, and they also suggest that all the Night's Watch members rendezvous at Winterfell. Tormund, Beric, and the remaining survivors make their way towards the King Road. The episode ends with the army of the dead arriving outside the gates of the last Hearth, ready to attack. Well folks, this concludes my rewrite for Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 1. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this rewrite. Please post your feedback in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to check it out. Also, don't forget that I'll be posting a new video for this series every Wednesday. So until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.